All right, so I just wanted to go over just a quick recap of what all of that previous video looks like in a process. So we'll go ahead and start a new document. Of course, we'll set our units first. Okay, so I'm not quite sure how big I want to build this, so I'm just going to kind of freeform this. So we'll do something like 20 feet that way, 15 feet that way, 10 feet that way, 5 feet that way. And then we'll just get a reference to this. And then CL. So these will be our exterior walls right here. When we're working with exterior walls for the purposes of this class, go ahead and use 6 inches for the exteriors and 4 inches for the interiors. We will kind of jump into what that represents or why we use those numbers later, but this is fine for now. So we'll go ahead and do offset 6 inches, and this will be towards the inside. Now let's put an interior wall right here, and one of the things I wanted to show you guys is how you put an interior wall. And the wrong way to do it, I'll show you guys first. This is the wrong way to do it. Is you take this corner from the exterior, go here, and then you offset this 4 inches over. And you end up with this odd corner right here. And what you want to do is you want to have kind of smooth interior edges. This is probably something you guys do see in your sketchy landlord apartments in town. But the right way to do this is to have these flush walls. So the studs are going to be going sort of, let me draw this at least. So the studs would kind of be biased towards this side of the wall on the interior side, and then your exterior finishes are going to be a little bit thicker. So when you line them up over here and offset this 4 inches, this lines up with the way this would be framed. So that's why we do that like that. A couple other things. So let's throw a couple doors and windows in here. I'll do this corner, we'll put in a door. The way I do frame up doors is the door opening should be whatever the distance from this corner is that the thickness is. So I'm going to move this over 6 inches because this is on an exterior wall. And then we'll offset this 2'4". Misclicked that one somehow. Okay, so we'll put a door there, and then let's center a window in each of these walls. So what I'll do is I'll just put a line going through there, and then we'll move these. We'll make these 4-foot wide windows. So we'll actually move this one over 2 feet, and then we'll move this up 2 feet, and then now we can offset these 4 feet over and over. Let's put another door in this wall too. And again, one thing I don't want to see you guys doing is, let me offset this. We'll do a 2'4" interior door here too. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see a door that's just floating out in the middle here, unless you have a good reason to do it. If you are going to have a door that's on an interior wall, or just just anywhere really, I want to see it. Typically, it should be biased. I haven't placed this accurately, so I'll come back and fix it. But I'd either want to see it biased here, so it's against this wall for some reason, or biased down here where it's against that wall for some reason. Otherwise, you end up with doors in awkward spaces, or worse, you have it just slightly off, where maybe you've got like whatever this amount of space is. You've got 10 inches behind the door where you can put stuff, but that's basically dead space, right? So let me go ahead and move this. We'll put this down here actually, and then we'll move it up. And so because this is an interior wall, I'm going to do 4 inches. So I should, whenever I look at these corners, I should see a box. It should be equal on all sides. So there's a box here, perfect square. Okay, so here's our spaces. We can now take this and go ahead and trim. So I'll use the trim tool. We'll just cut these out. And then I need to get that spot right there too. That spot right there. So now we've got our walls. Let's go ahead and throw some doors in here. So next thing about doors, we did these all 2'4", so we can just do 2'4". I make them 1" thick, and we can close that up. We'll go ahead and draw an arc here. So start, center, end. Start, center, and because it's going this way, I don't have to change anything. Another thing about doors that I don't want to see is I don't want to see the opposite of this. So if I mirror this real quick. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so if I mirror this, you can see that to get into this room, it would be pinched in that corner, right? You'd have to open up this door at least halfway, if not most of the way, to really kind of enter this space. I don't want to see that. So think about the direction your doors open when you place them in there as well. Okay, let's talk about the windows. So there's a couple different ways you can draw windows. As long as I can look at it and understand it's a window, I'm fine with it. So I'll take this, we'll offset this. I do my window panes 1" thick, so now I've got that. And then we have another 2 inches. So we had 3 inches for this exterior wall. I did 1" right here. So now it's 2 inches to the corner. We'll do another 2 inches. So we'll do 4 inches of distance. Place that right there. This will be the exterior sill. I'll move this up 2 inches. And then I'll draw another line here, 2 inches. So that's the exterior windowsill. And I do them in different sizes for the interior versus exterior, just because the size difference helps. And then we'll go ahead and move this in another inch, or out another inch rather. So then again, this is 6 inches, 1, 2. So I have 4 more inches plus 1. So we'll offset this 5, and that should be 1 inch from there. And then we'll go ahead and repeat the same thing as we did on the outside, except it will do it 1 inch and 1 inch. So 1 inch. Okay, so now that we've got this window, we can actually copy it to the next window. And when I select this, I'm going to make sure that I don't just do that. Because if I do this, I've grabbed the parts of the walls that were there, right? So I'm going to do 2 selections. I'm going to do half, and I'm going to do half. And that's going to get me this. We'll go ahead and group this. So now it's a group. There is another feature called blocks that we'll get into in another lecture, but that is not this lecture. And we'll go ahead and use, actually, and then we'll group the door too. So let's go ahead and group the door. And then now we can move these. Now, when I have you guys move things, I typically say get one fixed point that you can rotate with. So if I take this, and I can grab any of these corners. So let's say I grab this corner right here. I need to find that equivalent corner that's up here. So that one right there. If I do this one, now I've got to do all kinds of weird movement to get this in the right spot. So I'm going to choose that same interior left corner right there. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. We'll go ahead and use rotate, and we'll rotate this into position. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll grab this door, get the rotation point, and then I'm going to want this to rotate, or again, I'm going to want it to flip in a different direction than it's already kind of set to. So I'll go ahead and rotate it at least so we're going one direction correctly. Temporary line across here, mirror it, and flip it, and erase. And then we'll get rid of that little temporary line. So that gets us our doors, our windows, and then whatever this space is. What you guys are going to run into pretty quickly is having to work with building furniture. And so while there are libraries you can get online, it's really helpful if you just kind of get used to building some furniture for yourself and building a furniture library. So, so let's build a queen bed here in this room right here. A queen bed is going to be 60 inches wide. So I'll just do 60 and 80, 60 and close. And then just to kind of indicate that this is in fact a bed, what we'll do is we'll usually put a line across here for the sheet. offset this, say 4 inches down that way, and then we'll just do a 45-degree line here, offset that 4 inches, and then we'll go ahead and trim this all out. That I spelled that so wrong. And then come on, there we go. I'll actually leave that there. I wanted to trim that. Trim. Okay. So there's our bed, and then we can also throw in like pillows here, so we'll just do that. Just kind of 2 simple boxes, we'll make one, and then we can just copy this over. It doesn't have to be exact because it's a bed, or at least it's just a pillow. If we want to get fancy, we can come in here, do a 2-inch fillet on a radius. Make sure you set M for multiple before you start, and just round some of those corners. That kind of makes it look a little bit nicer. Come on. Screwed it up. There we go. Accidentally clicked out. All right. So we've got there just very basic bed. And then again, for now, we'll group them. I haven't gotten in blocks. To place this and center it against that wall, what I will do is I will usually just draw a little temporary line here. We don't even need to use that temporary line. I'll just do a selection that grabs, oh, I'm sorry, I grouped it. So now that this is here, I can grab this as a relative handle to move this bed, click on that, and now I can position it, and you see that that line stays behind. So that's one of those areas where you can kind of plan a little bit ahead and do things. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw some hatching in here for the walls. So we'll do hatch. We'll do that, and we'll do that. Nope, not that one. No. Okay, so we've got our walls filled in there. Let's go ahead and make a couple layers. So for this, I mean, again, this is just kind of a quick demo, so I'm not taking this one too seriously, but I'm just trying to show you guys the workflow. So we'll go ahead and do walls, doors, windows, furniture. And now we'll just go through, we'll select, say, our doors, move them to the doors layer. Actually, let's color these too. So furniture will do green, windows will do that cyan color, doors will do orange, walls will do, we'll leave walls white. So let's go ahead and move everything over to the appropriate layer. So this to the furniture, put our windows on the windows. Okay, so now that those are assigned, let's see, let's go ahead and throw this into layout. So we'll click over to our paper space, close that. Let's go ahead and double click in here, get rid of that grid. We will set our scale to 1/4 inch. Actually, let's go ahead and create another layer too for, this will be viewports. And again, I'll make it that fuchsia color so I know I don't want to see any of that. And then we'll go ahead and hide the viewports, or freeze them rather. Move that over there, As long as we don't need to modify it any further, it's fine. Oh, it's not going to play nice with that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and turn it off. Okay, so there we have that. Fairly simple. It's just quickly put together walls, doors, windows, furniture. From there, we will expand upon this in further videos. We have a couple things that we need to cover, like blocks, dimensioning, labeling, title blocks. We've got a whole set of videos. So this is just kind of the first part, get you into it, get you used to using the tools, and yeah, all that stuff. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up here and see you guys in class.